It's my privilege to be the first speaker of today, and I wish to start the discussion from a broader perspective. And for broader perspective, I mean the geographic coverage of the Geopark, as well as its inclusive nature. For those of you who might not be familiar with the Geopark, the Hong Kong Geopark, or the name is the Hong Kong UNESCO Global Geopark, has a land area of 150 kilometers square, covering the northeast sedimentary rock region, as well as the Sai Kung volcanic rock region. Why a UNESCO Global Geopark must demonstrate geological heritage of international significance is not only about geology. The purpose of a geopark is to explore, develop, and celebrate the links between the geological heritage and all aspects of the area, including its natural, cultural, and intangible heritages. There are three main focuses for the geopark, and they are interlinked: conservation, education, and local sustainable development. And for local sustainable development, we mean the promotion of sustainable development of the people who live there, which may take the form of, for example, sustainable tourism. In Hong Kong, as you might know, many geological and ecological important sites are already protected as country parks or marine parks. And for the areas which are not suitable to be included in country parks or marine parks, for example, some of the villages, there are enhancement measures through, for example, management agreement with the landowners. In conducting our promotion as part of the Geopark's work, we feature these outstanding natural heritages. But to a certain extent, we found that by digging into the interrelationship of natural and cultural heritages, we're able to tell better stories. For example, the duck eye of Ap Chau, which I believe some of you have been to before, it has geologically is a sea arch, and with the red breccia formation. It's an interesting geological feature, but also a central part of the life of the Ap Chau people is where they gather and where they have events. And from the feng shui wood of Lai Chi Wo, which has very high ecological value, it is also protected for cultural reasons by the locals. So it tells that the cultural and the natural features are actually interrelated, and we can actually tell much better stories through understanding more about these features. And also, conservation work in the Geopark is not only about nature. As I believe Winnie will tell you in a minute, definitely she's smiling now, she will definitely share the experience in Lai Chi Wo, for example, the revitalization of the paddy farming, and how that benefits both biodiversity and the local communities. Obviously, the cultural heritage of the local communities, including their traditional knowledge, skills, and cultural legacy, is an important part of the Geopark. But as Professor Tang has just mentioned now, many local communities are becoming less vibrant. The populations are aging, the young people left the cities or overseas for better life. Many of them migrated to Europe. And with this situation, there is actually urgency to preserve the valuable parts of the history and culture before it's lost forever. The slides show some of the local communities in the Geopark. Some of them are better known than others. And in 2017, that is 6 years before, we started a program called Same Roots, Same Origins, 同根同源, which collects stories from villages in a systematic way. The key components of the project is oral history interviews. We interview not only villagers who live there, but also those who emigrated overseas, for example, in Europe. We spoke to them, we approach them, and it is a long process of reaching out to build relationship and to gain trust. Gradually, the efforts paid off, and we were connected with more and more villagers as we get to know them and know them better. And the people started to tell us about themselves, about their history, about their personal stories, and about the stories of the villages that they lived in. By collecting these stories, we're able to reconstruct a valuable part of the history and culture of these communities, and also to gather useful resources for tourism and education, which will in turn benefit these local communities. And also by speaking to them and knowing them better, we also understand their needs. For example, we are able to help in certain cases by supporting their request for better transport infrastructure through the tourism initiatives of the geoparks. So in certain cases, the Geopark brand and status actually help in taking forward these initiatives. So here are some deliverables of this project. Using the many stories collected from villages, we established visitor centers called story rooms, which promoted local history and culture, and also served as an additional resource for tourism in these areas. The story rooms are run by local villagers, and it is also a source of pride for them. Since 2018, that is 5 years ago, we started the first Apchal story room. We now already have 5 story rooms in the Geopark communities, forming a network of Geopark story rooms as well as part of Geopark visitor centers. Another deliverable is the Cat Old Heritage Trail, which is a way to present the stories on the spot. Actually, people like to listen to stories, they like to know the places, and there's no better way to guide them through the villages, through this well-designed route. We also got the advice from villagers about the choice of the route, how to take the people through the villages without disturbing their normal life. And also we published 2 books, one on Apchal and one on Cat O, and we're working on the 3rd one, which will be hopefully will be published within this year. We also organize many activities, public activities in the village, which is an effective way to attract the villagers, attract the visitors from outside, as well as to get the villagers who left to return to their villages. In 2021, 2 years ago, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of the UNESCO Global Geopark in Hong Kong through a series of community fairs. And we engaged the villagers in that different ways. They ran public workshops, they led guided tours, and they performed traditional plays in their own villages. And of course, they took pride in their villages and what they're doing, and getting people to know their places. And that was great fun too. Getting close to the end of my talk, which is a pretty short one, I wish to emphasize the importance of capacity building. And actually, we're doing quite a lot of that in order to take things forward. We provided training to villagers. We arranged experience sharing among different villages. For example, fishermen from different villages visited each other to learn about the life in other villages. And we also have them help them have the hands-on experience in managing projects. For example, the management of story rooms are actually done by the villagers themselves. So they decide on how they would like to operate and manage their areas to suit their lifestyle. Because we're all doing that, because we believe that there's no better way than empowering the villagers and building the capacities in order to have a sustainable outcome This is a really important thing. I'm sure that this point will actually pop up throughout the whole discussion of the day. We've been talking with other project managers as well. A lot of resources have been put into these projects. A lot of people from different backgrounds have been helping local villages, and the villages themselves have lots of ideas as well. But how can we sustain these efforts and get to a next level of the real sustainability in the long run? I think there's a lot to discuss, and we also like to be part of the discussion. And finally, this photo, it shows different generations of Apchao. Through the Same Root, Same Origin project, we managed to attract villagers who left to return to their villages and also treasure their villages, such as by running their story rooms and visiting their old houses. We think that Geopark provides a platform for many good things to happen, such as collaboration, communication, enhancement of infrastructure, getting new attraction for ecotourism, and also building a stronger local ownership among the local communities. And we think that these are all important and they all contribute to the revitalization of the Geopark communities. Obviously, there will be a long way to go. We're just at the start. But I'm really glad that more and more people are joining hands towards this common goal. And that's why we're all here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yip, for your insightful sharing.